Flooding continues to take a toll across the state. We have team coverage right now on News 3.
Plus, the parents of the 15-year-old boy who was allegedly starved to death are charged today in court.
And later, saved by the light. Some quick thinking to help rescue some unlikely visitors in the sky.
This is News 3 at 10.
Thank you for joining us tonight. It has now been 3 weeks since the historic flooding hit southern Wisconsin.
And with a couple of alert days in the near future, it does not appear we will be drying out anytime soon. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti with our first alert forecast in the Weather Center. Gary?
Well, showers and thunderstorms certainly in the forecast for tonight and tomorrow. After that, we might have a couple of dry days. And then beyond that, the forecast really hinges on what happens with the remnants of Tropical Storm Gordon as it heads toward the Midwest. Alert days are in the forecast overnight into Wednesday for showers and thunderstorms. Some of those can have heavy downpours tonight. And tomorrow, while widespread heavy rain is not expected, showers and thunderstorms are going to be pretty widespread, and that could make flooding worse. Now, a line of thunderstorms is just crossing the Mississippi River. Some of these thunderstorm cells could produce some brief gusty winds as they move from areas just north of Prairie du Chien to just west of Viroqua. That'll take them through areas along and north of the Wisconsin River over the next couple of hours. And there are more storms back in Iowa that'll also move northeastward. Now, as we look at the rest of southern Wisconsin, just over the last 24 hours, about 3 to 5 inches of rain has fallen from around Prairie du Chien to just north of Richland Centers to just west of Wisconsin Dells. That's the area that's most susceptible to additional flooding. A flood warning is in effect there until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Flash flood watch in effect until 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, west of a Platteville to Lone Rock to Wisconsin Dells line. Precipitation potential, latest update from the computer models, about a ½ inch to 1.5 inches of rain over southern Wisconsin. Heavier amounts are possible in some spots of 2 or 3 inches, mainly to the north and west of Madison, closer to the La Crosse area. Low temperatures this morning started out around 70 degrees thanks to the muggy weather. We're still in the upper 70s right now with dew point temperatures in the lower 70s, so the air is just loaded with moisture. And we're also seeing some fog start to develop, visibility down to about a mile in La Crosse. Some of that could be heavy rain, but we'll also see some areas of fog overnight. Otherwise, look for showers and thunderstorms to develop overnight, and we'll see a high temperature tomorrow of 76. That's your first alert forecast.
All right, Gary, thank you. And with more rain adding to the chance of flooding in Sauk County, people along the Baraboo River from Laval to Rock Springs to Baraboo are getting ready for floods worse than what we saw last week.
Amy Reed was in Reedsburg today. She joins us now live to show us how the town is getting ready. Amy?
Yeah, last time the town of Reedsburg had to wait 10 years for another flood, and now it's only been a week. You can see it's kind of starting behind me here on South Webb Avenue. Sauk County Emergency Management tells me upstream it's 6 inches higher than it was last week, so they're telling people here in Reedsburg to prepare for more water this time around. The sandbags are going back up, maybe faster than ever before. Experience will do that to you.
It's sad, but we're starting to get really good at it. That's the problem. We shouldn't be good at how to sandbag and fill sandbags and move sandbags and how to try to protect a house.
David Burton hopes that his second try works better than the first. Last week, water filled inside up to where the sandbags are now. The experience goes around the block. People know what supplies to grab this time.
We've actually had quite a few people already stop, slowly go by and check it out. So it's just kind of some levity to the situation.
A couple houses down, they lean on hope instead of laughs.
Right here, we're about 4 or 5 deep. At the bottom is 2, 3 rows. We wrapped 3 camping tarps, pinned it all in. So we're hoping that holds enough.
Last week got this house a little, but they don't want to chance it with Sauk County warning higher levels this time.
I'm thinking I hope it doesn't get as bad as they're saying.
It's a disaster that tests your faith.
Mother Nature's not going to beat me.
But maybe not your resolve.
So far, she hasn't beat us yet.
Especially with a whole town on your team.
Since we're a community, we're helping sandbag everybody.
No one who asks left out.
It's like I've kind of lost all hope for humanity, but you know, you go down and you're bagging sand and you see some of the people that are down there helping you, and even the neighbors. You know, you saw us, we were over on other streets helping people out, and that's what we did the other day too. 2 floods in 1 week, but again, the town comes together. It tests your faith. If anything, it'd just make us get into the pearly gates that much easier if we're actually helping somebody else out. So that's all we can do.
For the rest of Sauk County, emergency management tells me down the road in Laval, they're already cut off because of water closing roads there. And depending on rain tonight here in Reedsburg, we could start seeing flooding anywhere from overnight into late afternoon. I don't want to be punny here, but it is a very fluid situation, so we'll be watching for that. The flooding will then make its way down other towns along the Baraboo River.
We all just need a break from this. Amy, thank you so much, reporting live in Sauk County.
Now, also in Reedsburg, the school district there is canceling all classes district-wide tomorrow because of dangerous conditions related to the flooding. Superintendent of the district, Tom Benson, telling us freshman students were sent home about 12:30 this afternoon on the advice of Sauk County Emergency Management. Freshmen were the only students who had scheduled classes today. Also, the Montello School District has canceled its entire first week of classes because of the flooding. The city has received about 16 inches of rainfall. The district says the water has compromised Highway 22, which is an access point for about a third of all students. As of now, the district is scheduled to open Monday. Officials hope to share a comprehensive plan with students and parents by Thursday.
And in the western parts of the state, 10 school districts across the Cooley region canceled school due to flooding. One of those is the Westby district. District Administrator Steve Michaels is in his first year there and already had to make a tough decision. He says the district had to think about what was best for its students.
Never in a million years did I think that we'd ever cancel the first day of school for a weather event. I'm worried about roads. I want to make sure that when we do put buses on the roads that the roads can handle it.
There is no set date of when the Westby School District will open. Officials in Boston have opened a shelter for flooding victims. Water from Decorah Lake and the Lemonweir River has risen over streets in multiple areas. The Department of Health and Human Services says the shelter opened this afternoon at the Boston High School. Police Chief Michael Zilish tells us there are no mandatory evacuations, but many residents have chosen to leave their homes because water and electricity has been turned off in parts of the city. 4 of Dane County's lakes are at their summer maximum levels.
Lakes Monona, Mendota, Waubesa, and Kaganza have been filled to the brim since the historic rains hit the area 2 weeks ago. Now, the goal of the Dane County Lakes Management Team is to release water as slowly as possible so that people see a gradual rise on the lakes and there isn't a significant amount of water on residential streets. It's a balancing act of sorts for Dane County and the state's Department of Natural Resources, which established the current lake level orders.
One difficult thing during high water periods is the question of, well, why are you choosing to manage the lakes beyond that maximum level? And the tools that we have to control the water levels are actually pretty limited.
Now, the lakes will continue to be high for weeks, if not months. And in the meantime, the county's best defense is cleaning the debris out of those lakes to keep the water moving through the system. The flooding in Middleton also being blamed for the permanent closure of a popular restaurant. According to the State Department of Workforce Development, P.F. Chang's on Deming Way has permanently closed as of September 1st. 36 people have lost their jobs because of that. The department says the facility closing was unexpected and caused by unforeseen natural circumstances. They're talking specifically about the damage from the flooding.
And a reminder, our Channel 3000 weather and traffic app. It has up-to-date information, all for free. Just search Channel 3000 in your app store. Next at 10, Madison Mayor Paul Salkland is talking about parts of his capital budget plan today. The nearly $337 million budget and capital improvement plan will invest $1.1 billion in 182 capital projects over the next 6 years. It includes critical investments in the city's transportation system, affordable housing, community spaces, and other infrastructure. It also allocates money for city fleet vehicles.
A Monona man enters a plea of not guilty by mental disease or defect as he faces 9 felony counts from on-campus incidents last fall. 31-year-old Coleman Chung in court. He's charged for his role in sexual assaults and the attempted abductions of 2 women and a teen in the campus area last year. In each case, the alleged victims escaped, but one did suffer serious injuries. Chung remains held in the Dane County Jail on a $50,000 bond. A jury trial is scheduled for February. Also in court today, 53-year-old Kelly Johnsrud, accused of driving drunk 3 times in 3 days and killing someone in one of those incidents. It happened on Highway 14 in Iowa County last October. 38-year-old Verona native Kevin Kaltenberg was killed when police say Johnsrud crashed into his vehicle. Today, she pleaded no contest to a charge of homicide by intoxicated use of a motor vehicle. She'll be back in court for sentencing in early November.
We are learning more about the living conditions of a Reedsburg home where a 15-year-old was found dead after a 45-day family fast.
An 11-year-old boy was also found emaciated and taken to the hospital. Both parents are facing 2 counts of neglect, one ending in death, the other ending in great bodily harm. Kay Hinde and his wife, Titi Layo, told police their family was fasting to get God's blessing to leave the area for Atlanta. After 45 days, their 15-year-old son died. Police say there were padlocks on all doors in the home. No one could get out. A letter was also found written by the 11-year-old son addressed to lawyers in Sauk County. It read, quote, "I can't continue in such a life with no food. I'll probably die of hunger." He remains hospitalized. Both parents were expected in court today, but the woman unable to attend. The father given a $5,000 cash bond because the judge believes him to be a flight risk.
A toddler is expected to be okay after being found in a bathtub with the child's dead mother in Madison's north side this weekend. This happened on Sachin Street. Police say the woman likely died of a drug overdose. She was found face down in cold water by her grandparents around 10:30 Sunday night. The 2-year-old found with her was cold but otherwise unharmed, according to police. Police have released a picture of a Madison bank robber, hoping the public can help identify him. Madison police say this man robbed the Associated Bank on West Broadway around 2:15 Friday afternoon. He is described as a white man, about 25 years old, 5'6" and about 150 pounds.
The lights of a baseball field helped a helicopter pilot land safely in Crawford County last night. Eastman's Fire Chief Tim Sprosty says residents could hear a helicopter circling low over the village. This was just before 10 o'clock yesterday. Local firefighters figured out the pilot was having some trouble seeing through the fog. So the chief says firefighter Butch Colson turned on the lights of this baseball field, and the pilot and his 2 passengers were able to land safely right on that field. The helicopter was on its way from Minneapolis to Chicago when the fog set in. Still ahead tonight at 10, your updated forecast, the latest on the expected rain overnight.
Plus an update on Tropical Storm Gordon making landfall as we speak along the Gulf of Mexico. Stay with us.
Welcome back. A big day for parents and kids. Back to school for the Madison School District. Superintendent Jen Cheatham was at Leopold Elementary greeting families as they dropped off their students. Over the summer, the district updated its strategic framework. This year, it focuses on core values, continuing work to close the achievement gap in Dane County, pushing for racial equality and social justice.
Students at Beloit Memorial had their first day of classes today, and so did new principal Orlando Ramos. Ramos says his main goal as principal is to raise the standards for students and teachers. He plans on doing this by requiring students to write 2 ACT-level essays in each of their classes. Ramos says another goal of his is to keep parents in the loop as much as possible.
Every week, our teachers are going to make 1 to 3 positive phone calls home. The days of calling homes just for negative purposes, that's over.
Ramos says he knows the new requirements might not be a student favorite, but says his main goal is to prepare students for college. In political headlines tonight, the latest book on the Trump White House paints an ugly picture of the current presidency.
A book written by famed Watergate reporter Bob Woodward titled Fear, Trump in the White House. The book quotes top presidential aides as being harshly critical of the president, including Chief of Staff John Kelly and Defense Secretary James Mattis. They both deny those quotes. The White House calls the book, quote, nothing more than fabricated stories told to make the president look bad. Woodward stands by his information. The hearing to confirm President Trump's Supreme Court nominee finally is underway. Brett Kavanaugh appearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee for the first time today. Democrats demanded a delay in the hearing over the White House's refusal to release all documents from Kavanaugh's time during the Bush administration. Republicans would like to have him take the bench by the 1st of October.
Tonight, Tropical Storm Gordon became the first tropical storm to make landfall in the U.S. this year. Its sustained wind speeds are just under hurricane strength, but the storm's heavy rains are likely to lead to some severe flooding. Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana all declared states of emergency ahead of its earlier than expected arrival. The National Hurricane Center predicted a 3 to 5 foot storm surge, which it described as life-threatening.
And I understand that just made landfall in the last few minutes, correct, Gary?
I've actually got the latest information that just came in.
And this was it stayed a tropical storm.
It was very close to hurricane force, but just below that strength. That's not the big issue. It's the rainfall for them and potentially for some part of the Midwest, too. Let's start out by taking a look at where Gordon is right now. Maximum sustained winds, 70 miles per hour right on the coast, moving northwest at 14 miles per hour. So it's probably not going to strengthen. It'll start to weaken, according to the latest forecast from the National Hurricane Center, already down to a tropical depression with maximum sustained winds of 30 miles per hour by Wednesday at 7 p.m. Watch what happens after that. It's expected to head into Arkansas and then start to curve toward the north and east. Now, this is the cone of uncertainty. Generally, that storm system should end up somewhere in this cone. Well, if it comes farther north toward southern Wisconsin, that means more rain for the weekend. If it goes farther to the south, which is certainly a possibility, then that means the rainfall should miss us. And take a look at one of the computer models. This is the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting, the main computer model. It only has a very little rain coming through later on tonight into tomorrow. This is all from the system that's coming through. But you can see what the effects of Gordon as that moisture starts pooling northward. And you can see this large area to our south where anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of rain may fall. Now, again, it keeps it just to the south and doesn't bring any additional rainfall this weekend. This is through Tuesday morning, next Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m. That would be the best case scenario for us because we would see basically dry weather from Thursday of this week all the way through probably Wednesday of next week. Again, should that storm and the system head farther north, some of that 3 to 5 inches of rain could fall either over southern Wisconsin or nearby. That would not be good news. We have alert days in the forecast overnight into tomorrow for thunderstorms that will be developing overnight. Some of those will have heavy rain and gusty winds and more showers and thunderstorms continuing in tomorrow with the potential for more flooding. Flood warning in effect for Crawford, Richland, southern Juneau, Vernon, and southern Monroe counties now extended until 9 a.m. That's for widespread flooding. Flash flood watch in effect until 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon west of Platteville to Lone Rock to Wisconsin Dells line. Precipitation potential over southern Wisconsin, generally about 1 inch, but some areas will pick up a little less than that. Some areas may pick up 2 or 3 inches in the heavier thunderstorms. Over the last 5 days, 3 to 6 inches over southwestern and parts of southern Wisconsin, with 1 to 3 inches elsewhere. Just over the last 24 hours, that 3 to 5 inch total out through parts of Crawford County and Sauk County. And you can see more thunderstorms coming in from the west that'll be affecting that area over the next few hours. So our forecast, in that flash flood watch over the western parts of our viewing area through 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. 72 for the overnight low temperature with showers and thunderstorms developing overnight. Tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms likely. A wind shift to the north will keep our high temperature down to 76 degrees. On future track, you can watch those showers and storms move through tonight. They'll continue through much of the day tomorrow. High temperatures mid-70s. Then they start to end tomorrow night. Some clearing as the wind shift to the north and drier air moves in. That would be certainly welcome news for Thursday. Sunshine, high temperatures in the lower 70s. Rainfall amounts, again, we're going to keep a close eye on the rain gauge over the next 24 hours. But the 7 to 10-day forecast does call for that dry weather into Friday. I have a chance of showers and thunderstorms from Friday night into Saturday, ending on Sunday, but a lot of that will depend on the actual path of Gordon as it heads into the Midwest. Dry weather after that. So if we could miss the rain over the weekend, that would give us a week of dry weather. That would be the best news that we could have.
Oh, gosh. Cross all those fingers.
And do we really need that tropical storm coming up through here right now?
When it rains, it pours, literally sometimes.
Literally, right?
Unreal.
Right. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Gary. A convincing win was not enough to keep the Badger football team in 4th place in the nation. The story coming up in sports.
News.
The Brewers had a thrilling Labor Day win over the Cubs. Tonight, they hope they didn't have to labor so hard in Game 2 against their rivals from the South. The Cubs score first in the top of the second on Brewer starter Wade Miley. Orlando Arcia can't field it cleanly, then can't throw it accurately. David Bodie scores on the air, 1-0 Cubs. But the Brewers have scored on 3 sacrifice flies, a wild pitch, a pass ball, a hit by pitch, an infield single. Here's Christian Yelich's 2-run double in the 7th. It's in the ninth now. The Brewers 11, the Cubs 1. Badger football team was ranked 4th in the Associated Press preseason college football poll. Today in the first regular season poll, the Badgers are 5th. No change at the top where Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia hold their places. But Ohio State, which pushed 77 points on Oregon State last Saturday, jumps the Badgers into 4th while Wisconsin resides in 5th. New Mexico is at Camp Randall Saturday morning at 11. Wasn't that long ago, former Edgewood High School quarterback Jack Dunn was making plays against Monona Grove for the Crusaders. Dunn is a preferred walk-on at the University of Wisconsin now. And in last Friday's win against Western Kentucky, not only did he catch his first collegiate pass, he also filled in for the suspended Danny Davis as the Badgers' punt returner. He didn't get a return, but had 2 clean, fair catches. Now, you'd think a former quarterback wouldn't sign up for punt return duties, but Dunn's looked forward to it for a long time.
Growing up, I remember coming to games and watching Jim Leonard, and sometimes I'd go home and pretend I was returning punts in my basement and stuff like that. So I was always kind of thinking about it. When I came here, they told me they wanted to have me practice doing that stuff. So I was just looking forward to having an opportunity to do it.
Tomorrow it'll feel like the real thing in Green Bay. The Packers are on their normal game week routine. Practice Wednesday, the season opener against the Chicago Bears at Lambeau Field Sunday night at 7:30. Now, Packer fans are excited about Aaron Rodgers' new contract. Well, Bears fans think they've now got a guy who can rattle Rodgers Sunday night. The Bears traded for Khalil Mack, who's arguably the most disruptive defensive player in the National Football League. So if you're a Bears player, what was your reaction when you heard you just got Khalil Mack in your team?
Wow. We just got better. We got a lot better. We got a really good football player, so excited to have him.
We spent a lot of time watching, tape on Mac yesterday, and obviously an extraordinary player, and it's an excellent addition to their football team.
The Prep Mania High School Football Game of the Week returns Friday night. We're in Wanakee, where the defending state champion Warriors look as good as ever, but their big rivals from 10 miles down the road, DeForest, come to Warrior Stadium to try and mess them up. We're live on TVW and Channel3000.com Friday night at 7. And Tiger Woods will play for the United States in the Ryder Cup in Paris at the end of the month. Woods was one of 3 wildcard picks announced by U.S. captain Jim Furyk today. The 3 captains' picks are Woods, Mickelson, and Bryson DeChambeau. A 4th U.S. captain's pick will be announced next Monday, and we'll be right back.
No one
Flash flood watch for our western viewers and a flood warning for our northwestern viewers. Line of thunderstorms coming in from the west to move over southern Wisconsin. There's the rainfall estimates over the next couple of days. Alert day in the forecast for tomorrow. Some dry weather Thursday and Friday. We'll watch what happens with Gordon over the weekend if it affects our weather, and then some more dry weather early next week.
All right, Gary, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us tonight for News 3 at 10.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.